what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from Nightwing2303.com. Today we have another performance review, and it is on the Nike LeBron 9 Elite. This is the post-season version of LeBron's 9 signature sneaker, and basically this is a complete and total upgrade from the regular LeBron 9, which I personally, it was a good shoe, but it just wasn't like great for all types of players, guards and things like that, whereas this shoe is much more versatile. So, without wasting too much of your time, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so as usual, we'll start off with the bottom of the shoe. Basically, you have somewhat of a similar pattern to what we saw on the LeBron 9. Instead of the chain link pattern, that has been switched out just for straight up lines, still in the same basic shape, and that is throughout the entire shoe, at least along the forefoot, and then along the outrigger here and the heel is just that textured area, so that's pretty much the same as what was used previously. Main difference is that this stuff worked much better. The rubber itself was a ton softer. This is something that you'd have to be able to feel, by picking it up and everything and messing with it. But basically, this section of the rubber is a lot softer than what was used on the LeBron 9. This area here, where it's just all that texture, is pretty much still the same. It really didn't matter how fast I was moving, where I was trying to go. These I did not slip at all for the most part. There was one instance where I'd slip with my left foot, and it was on the outrigger here. This was a combination between the shoe and myself as far as like my style of play, but basically I was going around the defender and I just put a lot of pressure or torque on the outside of my foot as I was coming around that person, and it was right on the section where there absolutely is no traction. So basically while doing that, the shoe just kind of gave out and I ended up on the floor. It didn't happen again. I was able to kind of change my way of playing. You just basically start to put most of your pressure on the ball of your foot instead of kind of dispersing it while you're moving around. Anybody that has these types of issues with certain shoes and you have to end up playing a slightly modified way to what you're usually used to, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, if you play in these and you're very, very quick on the court and low to the ground, you'll know exactly what I mean once you're on the floor. So, but basically, traction I thought was just a huge upgrade from the first version, and I preferred this better. Even though it doesn't look like it would perform very well, it actually did. Each little line is very soft, very flexible, and I loved it. As far as the cushion is concerned, you have the same exact setup as the first model. This is something that I personally usually don't like. Basically, you have a 180 heel bag in the back, and then you have a somewhat visible zoom unit on the forefoot. A forefoot zoom unit that is full length is stated as such because it's width-wise, it's full length, so from side to side. I know that it's not full length as in from heel to toe, but that's how it's labeled. So it's a full-length forefoot zoom unit. When you have a Met bag, that's just when it's just directly underneath here, or if you have an articulated zoom, it is going to be full length, but it'll be pocketed with different sections of zoom. So this is a full length unit, side to side width-wise, not full length from heel to toe, and then you have that 180 bag here. So basically, transition was very similar to the LeBron 9, with one key exception, is that the foam itself was changed to Cushlon, and most of the midsole in the LeBron 9 was encapsulated within the upper of the shoe. So you can see here on the lateral side that the midsole is visible, but on the medial side it's encapsulated into the material, so it's like housed inside of there. This shoe itself was not flexible whatsoever in the forefoot, especially if you're a smaller player. Trying to get that flex in there, you really got to have a lot of weight on there. Whereas this version here, because this is Cushlon instead of Phylon, basically you had a lot more flexibility within the shoe itself. So transition was much smoother, even though the ride was fairly similar as far as the cushion components go. And a lot of people have been trying to tell me that the LeBron 9 is Cushlon as well, which it actually isn't. I'll have the LeBron 9 tech spec sheet on my website, nightwing2303.com, if you want to take a look at it. Basically, it just breaks down the LeBron 9, and it says that it's a lightweight Phylon that's injected into the midsole. So Cushlon and Phylon, they have a totally different feel. It's something that you could feel right away, and you know, just with your fingers or even trying them on. So it's got a completely different feeling underfoot than, you know, Phylon does. So it's something that's extremely noticeable. But basically, with the addition of the Cushlon, transition was very, very smooth. Like I said, it's very flexible, and even for a guard, I thought that this was perfect. For the most part, it is a little bit heavy and things like that, but that doesn't really bother me as long as the construction of the midsole and cushion are very smooth. Usually I don't like the combination of the cushion, and again, because of the Cushlon, it didn't bother me whatsoever. This is something that I should have done this earlier, but basically you have an ortholite insole just to kind of aid in the cushion, and then I showed this in the previous video, but then you have this extra different type of foam right here. It's just a little bit more rigid, and then the pads on here are awesome, because usually with an ortholite you get a little bit of slippage inside the shoe, but these little black spots all over the place and in the heel, this is all rubber, so it's very grippy. It keeps your foot in place, so when you're on the footbed here and you're moving around, you're not kind of sliding and stuff like that with sweat. So that was definitely a nice touch, something that I wish was on the regular version, along with the Cushlon midsole. Again, Cushlon just made all the difference in the world, and it just felt fantastic. So the material and the fit. The material has been slightly modified. It's still a fused and flywire upper. There's just less layers of it, so this is much more flexible than the first one, and it's basically just rigid in the sections where you need it, which is right here in the toe, along the wrap, and then of course on the side panels and the heel. So I think that this is a much nicer setup. These also fit true to size, so size 9.5 is what I needed for the LeBron 9, and for the LeBron 9 Elite I needed a size 9, and it fit perfect. So that's pretty much it as far as the materials go. It's very similar. It's just, you know, cut back a little bit to reduce some weight and add some flexibility. Interior wise, you don't have the Pro Combat along the collar. Instead you have it as the whole inner sleeve, or inner boot. So I thought that this was a nice touch. It also wicked away moisture, which was nice, and it still allowed for some ventilation and breathability, which, you know, we'll get into later. So as far as the fit, like I was saying, true to size. Go with your normal size. If you have a wide foot, you might want to go with a size up, especially with the carbon fiber right here. But I did not have any of that toe jamming experience with this one. This one's much more forgiving in the toe. It's just fused. There's not TPU inside of this that I know of. There could be, but I'm not sure. So I didn't feel it anyways. And basically the fit was very similar. The lockdown tabs did exactly that. They locked your foot right at the ankle and pulled them into the heel, kept them there. The heel of the sleeve is extremely sculpted, which is nice, because that just really helped out with the fit. There were a couple of hot spots depending on what type of socks I was wearing. I wore the Nike Elite the first few games, and this small area right here on the right foot of the carbon fiber was really digging into my foot there. The next times that I played in these, and all the times afterwards, I decided to use the Adidas, I think it's called the Speeds, I don't remember what it is, but the Adidas version of the crew socks. I wore those because they're a little bit thinner, so I actually did not have the pinching right here. However, I did have pinching because of the inner sleeve right there. Just a little bit of a thickness of material, so that was kind of digging in. I had to lace these up all the way down here for this foot. The other one I was able to lace up all the way, but because the lockdown straps and the heel is so sculpted, it didn't even matter. You could play easily and comfortably without lacing these all the way up to the top. These are actually a low top shoe here, so these are built very similar to a Huarache, and I personally really like it because it allows free range of motion with your ankle for the most part, but then you're still locked into place and you're secured from heel to toe, which is fantastic. And I really can't say enough, but the fit and the materials and all that stuff, I really have no complaints. I thought that this was awesome, and it was definitely a fun ride. So ventilation was probably one of the other key areas besides the flexibility and the cushion that were completely upgraded upon. You have tons of ventilation throughout the upper, and especially on the medial side right here, you have all these cutouts, and they're not restricted or blocked by anything. So complete airflow in all those areas, great usage of not only fly wire but the fuse material itself, as it actually allows ventilation and airflow within the shoe. Again, the sleeve, the Pro Combat sleeve, it kind of wicked away moisture. This surprisingly stayed dry after tons of hours on court. I was on court for anywhere up to from 4 to 5 hours at a time, and my socks would be the only thing that was wet. So I think that's kind of weird. The insides were a little bit wet as far as like the insole goes, but this sleeve here was completely dry. So ventilation I thought was great. If you want to count the little mesh screens here, you can, but again, it's kind of a low top shoe, so airflow is not being really restricted up top right here. But basically ventilation was much better than LeBron 9. So as far as support goes, I thought the support in the LeBron 9 was perfectly fine. The support in these is a little bit better for a couple of reasons. They kept the lockdown tabs in there, so it's supporting your ankle by keeping it inside of the shoe. Like I was saying earlier, the heel is sculpted, so it's keeping that in place. You do have the carbon fiber shank, and this is another thing that was changed that I think is a good thing. It's in place, it's there, it's rigid, it has a little bit of a bounce back to it because it retains its shape well. Right here, this is probably the biggest change with all of the Elite series, is that they're placing carbon fiber in strategic areas. This one was along the lateral side panel for support and stability, especially for a larger player that plays like LeBron. He's very big and very fast, so he's doing a lot of strong movements, and his feet are pretty much bearing all the weight, which is going to really take its toll on the shoe itself. So by putting the carbon fiber on there, not only did it implement quite a bit of support, but it's very, very rigid as well, so it keeps its shape and it's able to keep that foot in place and locked down, especially when everything's tied up here, and it just kind of engulfs over that top of the layer of the foot. So when you're stopping really quickly, your shoe's not going to go with it. It's basically keeping your foot inside right where it needs to be the entire ride through. So support in this particular model I thought just was fantastic. Alright guys, so that pretty much takes care of the review on the LeBron 9 Elite, also known as the LeBron 9 Postseason. I absolutely love these. I think that these are a phenomenal basketball shoe. Again, these are so much better than LeBron 9s that, the price and everything you can consider, but I really just, if you're going to pick one, I'd pick this one here. A lot of people were complaining about the $250 price tag, which is 100% like legitimate, because honestly that's ridiculous. But at the same time, it's definitely an upgrade as far as performance is concerned. Is it worth the $250 price tag? I can't really speak on anyone else's behalf. If performance is worth $250 to you, then yes. If it's not, then no. It just really depends on your personal preference as far as how much you're willing or want to pay for something that's so-called elite. And at the same time, personally, you have to kind of figure that it's a LeBron James shoe, so the first version should have been an elite as it was, right? So so things like that, it's just kind of hard to gauge. The way that the prices have been skyrocketing with all brands, it's not just Nike or Jordan brand, Adidas and things like that, they're going to be going through some price increases as well. That's just kind of where things are going right now, so it's kind of forcing people that do performance reviews to where you just kind of have to not even think about price as a factor. That would be on the consumer's end, which is the viewer, the reader, and basically as a reviewer you have to just strictly go based off of performance, and that's it. Whereas beforehand, we'd kind of be able to compile all the data together: traction, cushion, fit, materials, durability, all of that kind of stuff, mix it in with the price, and then it's like, boom, you got a good bang for your buck sneaker. Whereas now it's kind of like, you're going to be spending some money. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's where things are going. So, but yeah, overall, this is a great shoe. Completely blown away by it, because I did not think the LeBron 9 was worth $170. It didn't play like a $170 shoe for me personally. And you know, this, again, I can't say anything about the $250 thing, but you know, it is what it is. So if you're interested in these, they're supposed to come out at the end of this month. I believe Nike changed their release date, so it's supposed to come out around the 28th for the Elite series. And anybody that wants these now, they've already released overseas, so you can get these over at airnight.com. But yeah, that's it. I'm done with rambling. I apologize about that, but I know a lot of people, including myself, are kind of like stunned by $250 for a shoe to play in. You know what I mean? So, but you know, what can you do? So, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. There's more stuff coming as usual. I pretty much haven't, you know, stopped reviewing things for a while now. So just, you know, be patient with me. I'll get everything done. And thank you very much. Until next time, guys. Have a good one.